And welcome to our November Hope meeting, our educational meeting with our special guest, Kat Denton. So I'm Jen Jones, and I'm the founder of Sober Livers and the Hope Program. And I am so excited to have everyone here tonight. In addition to our wonderful advisors, as I mentioned, we have our special guest today, Kat Denton, who is going to be sharing some really great information for us with the upcoming holidays and all those temptations that are around, be it alcohol, sugar, shopping. We got all kinds of things out there that could really tempt us over Christmas and over all of our holiday weekends. So as I said, my name is Jen, and in 2018, I almost died of liver failure. And it was in May, and I had both. I had severe alcohol-induced hepatitis, and I had a decompensated liver, and I was only given about a 30% shot of living, and I had no one to talk to. I had my dog, and thank God I had a really great dog because he got me through the hard times. But I think people need more than a dog to talk to, and that's why I really wanted to start something like Sober Livers. There's one other program that I found that's really great that a lot of you guys come here from, which is called the Liver Spot with LifeRing. And other than that, I haven't found anything else that really matches anything that really helps people that have both alcohol use disorder and cirrhosis or transplant due to alcohol or some sort of other liver disease that they're dealing with in combination with the alcohol use disorder. So that's why we're here, and we're here. We also focus on education, and I just wanted to give a shout out to our advisors. We have Jack here today. We have Lindsay. We have Chris, and then we have Nancy, who I'll let introduce herself because she is our chat woman. She is our moderator for the chat. So I just wanted to mention Nancy's name again, because if you have any questions and you just don't feel comfortable asking right into the chat, please send her a message, because I know we're on there, all of us, but we're not checking chat like she is. So to get a response, go ahead and do that. And with that said, Nancy, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. I'm Nancy Hossa, and I am 5 years post-liver transplant, and I will soon be celebrating 10 years alcohol-free, and I'm really glad to be here. And if y'all have any questions and I don't know any answers, I won't give any medical advice, but we do have people we can get questions to if you have questions. So, and ask me anything, because I'm not ashamed to talk about anything. So.
Yeah, that's why we have Nancy there, because it's like you can tell her anything, and so she's great about that, and I'm glad to call her a friend. So here are our group guidelines. These are our HOPE agreements, and so I just want to share this with you, and just that it's basically just to respect everyone that's here, and treat others like you want to be treated. So participation, we would love for you to contribute, but let us know in chat if you just prefer to listen only. And feedback. So we like you to share your opinions here. So, but if you're doing that and you're sharing what your opinions is, please use I statements. For example, I had an MRI instead of an ultrasound because I had iron overload, which is a true statement. And then medical advice. Feedback is not considered medical advice. So anything that we say here, please consult your health provider before discussing any of it here. And then confidentiality, this is a private space, so ensure you're in a private space, which means use headphones if needed, and please do not share details about the group outside of the meeting. And cameras, we love having the cameras on, but we do know we're having an educational meeting, so if you'd like to turn them off, please still communicate with us. But as I mentioned, we are recording the first hour, and we do, as I mentioned, for people who weren't here, we will be removing your faces from anything that's said during the recording, and that people are going to watch afterwards. So you don't have to worry about your anonymity, which is next. And if you wish to remain anonymous, you can change your screen name. If anybody has questions on how to change your screen name, you can send Nancy a note, and I believe Nancy can answer that question for you. And please share your transplant status. So while we're talking about anonymity and chat, if everybody could just write in the chat screen where you're from and how you're feeling today. I'm feeling kind of goofy because I have to travel and I've been on very little sleep getting ready. So I told everybody, all the advisors on this call, keep me in check because I'm being really goofy. So abstinence. While abstinence is not required to attend, please join the meeting sober. If you are under the influence, do not participate verbally or in chat except to contact a facilitator, Nancy, for support. Please provide your contact information for treatment resources if you need them. And politics, we are nonpartisan. Our focus is on our shared experience with AUD, liver diseases, transplant, and related issues. And then finally, secularity. Sober Livers is primarily secular, but we do welcome discussions about spirituality or religion as part of your recovery, following our group guidelines. Finally, we're here to learn from each other, offering compassion, empathy, and kindness. So please take with you what resonates and leave the rest. And does anybody have any questions about these agreements? Okay, so next, I mentioned Chris earlier. We're going to wish him a happy liverversary. He just had his first happy liverversary on, the date was 11/11, right?
Mhm.
Chris,
Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
Yes, so he's 11/11/1 now. So happy liverversary.
Thank you.
Yay. I could whistle, I would, but I can't. So, and I'm not going to sing. I'm sorry. All right. So with that said, let's get started. I'm going to introduce you guys to Kat. Kat and I had the opportunity to meet each other at an American Liver Foundation Liver Life Walk here in Colorado. And it was so wonderful meeting her and then getting to know her better and follow-up conversations. She has such an exciting job, and I'll let her share a little bit about it with you, but she's a passionate social worker she's at Advent Health Transplant Institute at Porter Hospital. And so she's supporting those patients that are living with liver disease due to alcohol. And she is very, she cares, I can already tell, a ton about the people that are part of her program. She talks very highly about everybody that she works with in the time that I've spent with her. And she earned her MSW from the University of Denver Graduate School of Social Work. And she's also, this is really important, y'all, she's duly licensed as a clinical social worker and a licensed addiction counselor. So please, if you have any questions in regards to both social work or addiction, she's there to help you. And I'm so happy that she decided to join our Whole Health Advisory Council and is here with us today to talk to us about winter triggers and inner strength, staying mindful and sober through the holidays, exploring practical tips for staying present, resilient, to ease those seasonal stress and manage all of those triggers. So thank you so much, Kat, for being here, and you can take it away.
Thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate it. I am going to adjust my screen so I can see as many people as possible. Like just said, my name is Kat Denton. I'm a transplant social worker right now, and I've been doing that for about 5.5 years. And prior to this, I worked in community mental health and addictions. That's my background. That's where I came from. Grew up around it, very easily followed it through, and then found my way to the transplant world all those years ago. And at that point, I only knew what I had watched on Grey's Anatomy and ER and shows like that, and have very quickly learned that is not the case and that things are very different. And even in the last 5 years that I have been working in the liver disease world, there's already been such a shift and change. And so when I met Jen this summer, I was really excited to hear about this program. For years, patients have been asking me about this exact combination. You know, I go to counseling, or I go to treatment, or I go to AA or something, and you know, we talk about the addiction side, and then I maybe go to a liver support group or a transplant support group, but there's not a lot of people who are like me, right? Who have had a drinking history, and in some part has contributed to the liver disease. And it was very exciting. For those on here who do work with me, know that I have been talking about it a lot lately and have been sharing it with everyone as an additional resource. So I'm very thankful to be here with you guys tonight. I'm excited to talk about this topic, especially as we get into the holiday season. The reason why I think it's important to talk about is because holidays are stressful. Life is stressful, right? A lot of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, and that I want to hear from you guys as well, aren't just about the holidays, but they can be applicable any time of the year. But anytime we can plan and know about different events or situations that may be coming up that are going to test our patience a little bit, maybe push us a little to our edge of comfort, it's good to have these conversations when we are not triggered and we're not struggling, maybe, so that way we can prepare for it. So gonna talk kind of through some of the things I like to talk to my patients about, and also anyone in recovery, to just, you know, prepare ourselves as we continue to navigate life in these holiday seasons. I always give the disclaimers. I don't know everything, despite what my licenses may tell people. I am also a human, and things are changing and we're learning, and everyone is different. And so I like the ground rules that Jen went over. You know, one person's experience may be different than another. And so if I suggest something or I talk about something in a certain way and it doesn't resonate with you, or maybe we're going to talk about triggers tonight, maybe you feel a little triggered by it. I want this to be ideally a safe space where you can bring it up in this moment, challenge me, let's talk through it. But I definitely don't want to leave anyone more triggered than when they came onto this conversation as well. If you are struggling already and maybe came into this group, you know, having a really rough day or coming off of a really rough week, you know, I want to give you permission to take a breath, get that, you know, glass of water, get that snack to eat while you're listening here, and take the time to take care of yourself. Because, you know, all of us are coming here from different time zones, different things happen today. And this is a place that I can already tell Jen has helped foster, and everyone has helped to foster, as a safe space. And I definitely want to continue that. So with that, in terms of why we're talking about this topic, right? You know, being aware of our triggers, especially through the holidays, through the winter season, right? The weather is changing depending on what coast you're at. Here in Colorado, last week we got quite a fun snowstorm, and I've heard we're getting another one here soon. You know, we're getting into that time of year where I go to work and it's dark, and I come home and it's dark, and I've missed all the daylight hours, right? There are a lot of things that are going on out there that can change our mood, change our temperament. And all of these things can lead to triggers for drinking again, and can lead us to have a really hard day, even after we've had hard days before, but we're struggling a bit more now. And so having a place to talk about this and just be aware of it, be open to the concept of I have triggers and I want to make sure that I don't let them trip me up, is really that first step to getting through all of this and getting through the next, you know, day, the next month, the next holiday season, the next year, is really just by being open and aware of these things. And then hopefully talk a little bit about a plan in terms of what do we do when we are triggered? How do we stay sober? How do we keep hopeful? I see the chats pop up every now and then. So keeping hopeful through everything, and try to fend off those holiday blues, which can definitely, or the seasonal depression, if you're like me, definitely it's real. And what do we got? What do we have to do? We got to plan for it. We got to try something different, try something that works for us. If it doesn't work, try something else. Any initial thoughts, questions? There's going to be other parts where I'm hopeful you guys will shout out some ideas. Okay. Well, when we talk about triggers, it's not always an easy conversation, right? One, we don't always want to recognize that we may have them. We feel like I should only think about the positives and the happy thoughts right now. I should be grateful. I should be happy that I'm doing well and I'm sober today. Why would I want to think about negatives happening, right? But the thing is, triggers aren't always negative, right? Triggers can be things that we don't even have control over, and that they're happening in our environment, or memories that can be intrusive and flood back to us because we smelled that one cookie that we used to devour during a difficult time in our life or something like that, right? And so if we only focus on the positive and nope, I can't think about the negative, we're ignoring a part of ourselves that we're supposed to have a range of emotions. I tell people when they start crying that, and people immediately apologize. I'm sorry, I'm crying. And if we weren't supposed to cry, we wouldn't have tear ducts, and medically it wouldn't be relevant and helpful for us. So yeah, go ahead and cry. Studies have shown a good 15 to 20-second cry and just letting that emotion out, even if we feel ridiculous, is a lot healthier than keeping it in, trying to push it down, and then we just have these steady set of tears in the back of our eyes that aren't going away. And so being able to put it out there and recognize these range of emotions that we have gives value to the whole sense of ourselves, right? We don't expect you to be happy every single day and every single time you talk to someone. Nope, I'm great, everything's wonderful. Well, that is the biggest lie I've probably have ever told anyone, right? And so having this space, ideally, to be able to recognize that and be able to maybe talk through potential concerns or triggers or issues or things we're worried about in this space gives at least that opportunity to bring awareness to it and to support you through it. Some of you folks may have really strong support system. Some of you may not. I don't know. And so if anything, this is going to be a support system, and this is going to be something that hopefully will be there to help you out on in those difficult times. Another I kind of call them like thinking speed bumps, if you will, or like the myths of triggers or reoccurrence of drinking is I've been sober for years, or I've already had my transplant. I will never go back to drinking, or maybe I don't need a transplant, or maybe I am on the list for one. And, well, I could never think about going back to drinking because I would risk so much. And it's great to recognize why we are thinking that way. Why do we feel like we could never drink again, right? Is it our health? Is it the impact on our family or our loved ones, what it does for us, right? It's good to recognize those things, but thinking that I'm never going to struggle and I'm never going to have a trigger or a passing thought or this feeling come up that maybe reminds me of, ooh, it was good to drink at one point. It felt good. Is once again ignoring a part of ourselves that is there, ignoring a part of recovery. Recovery is not a linear process, and it's not a action or inaction, right? It's not, my recovery or I had a reoccurrence or I drank again, right? And that's where my trigger happened, is because of that, right? We can have struggles and not drink. We can have struggles and temptations and not eat the birthday cake left over because our A1C tells us not to, right? We can have those different struggles and things come up and not follow through with it. So telling myself, you know, I've been around people who have drank before and I've not felt like I needed to drink. I've handled stressful situations before and I never drink. So why, you know, there's nothing that could throw me off, right? It's good to think about, okay, well, what did help me during those times? What allowed me to handle that stressful situation, right? And what allowed me to, you know, stay sober when others around me were drinking? Yes. And those are our strengths. Those are the things we're going to carry with us. But completely closing ourselves off to the possibility is closing ourselves off to the hope of going through those moments and either staying sober or getting back on track and knowing that we can still do well if we do drink again. And if we do have that reoccurrence or that lapse in our sobriety, that we are able to continue to do well and get back on track and take care of ourselves. And so with that, I wanted to first kind of talk about like what are triggers, right? We're gonna the topic of it, right? Winter triggers. So if anyone would like to either shout out what they think a trigger is, or maybe a trigger they know for themselves to be. What is a trigger? What are triggers?
Okay, I'm gonna get you guys talking here. Oh, there's
Oh,
Jimmy.
I
I'll let,
saw
Say
my hands
holidays.
go up.
I was gonna say
I'll
holidays.
let Jimmy go. Jimmy, you go
Oh,
ahead.
thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I've got cirrhosis and I am recovering. I haven't had a drink since last May when I went to the hospital with liver failure. And anyway, I'm grateful to be here. And the topic of triggers, just thinking about going to the store and seeing those gift boxes of liquor that either had like a coaster or a koozie or a little shot glass that comes with it. I would, when I was drinking, I would convince myself, oh, this is a good idea. I'll get the gift box, give it as a gift to somebody. But if I inevitably would, drink it myself or buy several bottles that were, oh, of course, everything's going on sale too, because of the holidays, a lot of people are imbibing and I'm not anymore. And so I know going to the store, I'm going to see that. And that's going to be a trigger for me. I'm sure of it. I'm glad I haven't felt the need to drink in a long time and just very happy that I've gotten to that point, because a couple of years ago, I didn't imagine that there would be a day that I could go without even thinking about alcohol. And that's happened several times. So in the last year and a half. So I'm happy where I am, and I'm really happy to be here with this group, and I appreciate everybody's support, and it's comforting to know that I'm not alone and struggling with this, liver disease, and and trying to stay sober. This is going to be a rough, especially rough couple of months. So I believe in us. I think we can do it, So thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Also
Thanks, Jimmy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you, Jimmy, because I do know, since I've heard from your other groups, this is going to be a very, very trying. And so just to know we're here for you. Okay. So if you ever need anything.
Yeah, I did just lose my dad a year ago. And his funeral was last November 7th, which would have been his 70th birthday. So that's also fresh on my mind, and still missing him very much. And so that on top of being relatively new to sobriety, it's a challenge, but thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And then I saw Hannah go
Hi.
off. Well, yeah,
I'm right here.
there you are. Did you
Oh.
have something you wanted to share? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel the same way that the last guy was saying, that it's great. I'm grateful to have this group. I just today spoke in another group. I didn't think I was qualified, but I'm 18 months out, and I feel good. I feel really good and hopeful, and but with triggers, I think like holidays trigger me, but not a lot. Last year, my husband, he likes champagne. I never really did. I was a half a bottle of rum, 16 beers a day kind of gal. And but when he got the champagne, I was like, oh, I thought in my head, I won't be able to drink any. And then another voice came and said, you never drank that anyway. You didn't like it. So there wasn't any rum or beer. And then I felt fine once I, got clarity that you wouldn't have drank it anyway, unless it were the only thing in the house and I needed to get, the buzz.
Yep.
So that I handled well. And also my family, my husband is very supportive. So it's been, there really isn't a lot of times where there's booze around me. So anyway, it's been fine, but that was my trigger, the holidays.
Yeah. Thank you, Hannah.
Mhm.
And then I see a couple hand icons up.
I think Thomas has had
Yeah.
his up.
Thomas.
Oh, hi. Yeah. Yeah, Jen, I appreciate you putting together this group. It's been real helpful. And I guess I was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver a little bit over 4 years ago, and I've been pretty much sober since. But yeah, I used to be a trigger was, like it was mentioned before, now here in winter and the sun sets earlier and you have less daylight. And so it always seems dark all the time. And you have less of a chance to go outside. And then when it's nice out, and then the weather's going to get more colder, and you just feel like you're stuck inside all the time and kind of cooped up. So that used to be kind of a trigger for me, years ago. And it may be for some other folks as well. So that's something I just wanted to share. But come spring and summer and fall, those are my favorite seasons, and I spend a lot of time outside decorating for Halloween. I really enjoyed that, and finally get all my Halloween stuff packed in today. So, and but I guess there's always Christmas movies we can all look forward to watching, and that's about it for me.
Thank you, Thomas. And Sharon.
Hi. Obviously, I've been doing something for a long time. I got sober in 1987. And it was a few years sober when I found out I had cirrhosis. It was really rude. And I had hepatitis C, I had alpha-1 deficiency, and I drank too much. And I didn't have any of what you guys have. There just wasn't much support around. I had my transplant at California Pacific in 1994, so I just celebrated 30 years with this liver. And I think something that was really important when I'm really involved in Alcoholics Anonymous. And there is an AA.org home group that's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can just jump on there. Instead of kicking my husband, sometimes I'll jump on. But I had my transplant in San Francisco. I've been so blessed, 30 years. And, I didn't drink for the taste. I drank for the effect. And I saw somebody, they missed drinking this or that. They just missed the taste. And no, I wanted the effect. I wanted to be drunk. A drunk driver, 2 drunk drivers killed my son. I was one of them. And the anniversary of his death is now my sobriety date, a few years in between. So I'm a great grandmother. My grandson had never seen me drunk. My great granddaughter has never seen me drunk, and I plan on keeping it that way. So I'm just glad you guys have some support. It was tough going alone. We just didn't know anything.
Thank you, Sharon, so much for sharing that. It's a hard thing to go through. And yeah, I'm very thankful for, and I think it was a couple of months ago or last month that the group talked about stigma and breaking that stigma. And this is one of the ways we do it. So thank you.
And I just want to pop in real quick too, Sharon. Thank you for sharing that. That is very, very touching, heartbreaking, and at the same time, I'm so happy that you've found, number one, sobriety and kept it for so long, and number two, you know, that you now have support here, and that's, so I really appreciate you appreciating this, because that just means so much to me, and I just wanted to share that.
And Andrea.
Hey guys. Andrea, pre-transplant. I'm going on, April will be 2 years of sobriety for me. It's been a long, long journey, and I've actually have found that this second year has kind of been, you know, the more challenging, because it was almost like the first year it was focused on medical and everything like that. But right now, I feel like I got everything beaten down on me. I just had a procedure on Friday, and I have varices in my esophagus that are in danger of rupturing, and my disability isn't coming through. So we're staying with family, and I got removed off the transplant list because I'm not in my own apartment. I feel like I'm battling two different entities on whether I need to focus on my health or go and try to be able to provide for my family, because I am a single mom. My daughter's father passed away in 2019 to cancer. And I wasn't going to come on tonight because a lot of things were just beating me down, and I didn't want to be around people, but I knew that tonight I really needed to, because I've been really struggling. I've been really fighting every day trying not to drink. It's been getting harder every day. So I wanted to say to Jen too, thank you. I know I've been on here quite a few times with you, but each time I think I've always thanked you for having this group. And I think I've recruited a couple people for you. I think there's been a few new people that have crossed your path because of me. We were able to help them too. So I just want to appreciate everybody and say thank you for being here tonight. Just for me to even just see other people and remember that I'm not alone either. Jim, just like Jimmy had said, remind myself that I'm not alone in this. So I appreciate everybody, and happy holidays.
Oh, Andrea, yeah, you're not alone, and thank you. I mean, what you're doing, just inviting people here. I mean, you're giving of yourself that way too, and so you're making a difference. You really are. And that sounds so rough what you're going through. So reach out to me if you need anything. Okay.
All right, thanks.
I'm so glad you showed up, Andrea, even though you didn't want to. And I'm so glad you shared, because you're not alone and you are carrying a lot. And by even just sharing it here, you know, whether we give you helpful tips or not, or, you know, it's the ability to take that off of our chest, even for a moment, I hope is helpful. And like Jen said, you know, there's a great group of people here that you can connect with and reach out to. And we're going to talk more a little bit about some options later on too for that. But thank you so much for sharing, because it is hard, and it's not always the initial, right? We got the adrenaline going, we got all the appointments, all the things, we're learning everything, but it's after time goes on and then these hiccups.
Keeping track and keeping up.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And keeping that strength to just keep fighting.
Yeah. and to fight against the being sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that you're here. And I see one more hand up icon. It
I don't
is,
know who that is.
I don't know.
Whose hand is that up? Who is C.
Cohen.
Cohen Soft?
Yes, you are muted if you want to unmute.
There you go. Okay. I'm muted because I have 3 dogs, and I don't think my husband and child would be back anytime soon. They're at baseball, but still, my dogs will just start barking. So I am I am on the transplant list. I'm too healthy to get a transplant, but I have cirrhosis. I've been in the hospital twice this year. I have also something that, yes, I drank, but I have hemochromatosis. And so once I went on menopause, it just was like everything just hit. And I didn't know what it was for a long time, and I wouldn't go to the hospital, and I was busy and everything like that. But what I'm concerned about, like I haven't drank since May. But it's like I went to my in-laws, my father-in-law at their house, their birthday party, and like they purposely didn't drink because I was there. And it was just very odd. Like I wouldn't mind them drinking. Like I think that would actually help me. Is that crazy?
No.
I mean, like I can easily, like I tell everybody, I can easily go right to the store if I want to. I can go here, like I can do whatever I want to go, but I don't, and I'm fine with it because I mean there were many years I didn't drink, and then COVID ruined my life. Not ruined my life, but it was bad. And but yeah, I mean my MELD score was at 30 when I first went to the hospital. Now it's 18. So I'm too healthy to get a transplant, it seems like. But if I'm not healthy, then I don't get a transplant. So I'm in Atlanta. Piedmont Hospital, wonderful hospital, is the one that would be doing it. I get my blood work done every so often. I mean, I feel fine. I'm very tired. Did people experience that? Just, I'm so tired. I take 2 naps a day. I mean, I work too, but online. But 2 naps a day. I mean, I'll sit in this chair and just fall asleep, which never in my life. But yeah, I just wanted to know like what y'all's thoughts were of, and telling people, and like my parents really don't drink, so that's not going to be different, but my in-laws do. And so when I went over there and then purposely not, I'm like, I don't know. I think it would just make it feel more normal. Yeah. If they did, of course I wouldn't. And my husband doesn't drink at all. He never really has, but I just wondered if that would make it okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, I want to open it up before I share my thoughts with Nancy.
Yeah.
I was going to add to what she was saying. I really don't like it when people say, or when they try to hide their drinking from me, like they don't want to
Exactly.
drink around me. Some people are glad that people do that because they don't want to be around other people drinking, but it doesn't bother me. And then I tell them it doesn't bother me, and they still don't believe me, and I'm fine with it. And I can
Yeah.
be around drinking, and it doesn't bother me anymore. It used to, but it doesn't now.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't at all. Like, I mean, it just.
I don't want to be around people using it excessively or drunk.
No, not
But
inebriated.
if people
No.
are just having a drink, I'm fine with that. If I go to someone's house and it's their house and a friend's house and her husband drinks, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I just wanted to, anybody else's thought.
You're not crazy though for thinking that it might be a good idea if they do drink around you, because
Well,
I am
it just
reminded
feels
often when
weird.
I'm out in public and people are drinking and they start getting louder and louder and louder. and they all
Yeah.
start talking over one another, and there's 12 conversations at a table that only have 6 people sitting there, and I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not like that. It's just,
Yeah,
it's
I've
kind
never
of
really been to many
kind of a
bars.
reminder of how I used to be and how I don't want to be anymore.
Yeah, I definitely, that's another thing. Like, I don't remember being really drunk. I don't know yeah, like, I got so used to it, I guess you could say. But, I don't really go to bars or anything like that. But I don't know. It was just kind of weird because, his birthday, of course, he's going to be having a drink, and my mother-in-law will have a glass of wine and not be crazy. And it just, I don't know, it felt really odd feeling like they had to change things for me because it wasn't like I
Yeah,
was like
I am glad
dying.
that some people ask, do you mind if I drink? I'm
They
cool with that. I
didn't.
think that's respectful. But when I say go ahead, I want them to believe me.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
I'm a big fan of communication. I also am good about I like transparency, and I think explaining why it's my sobriety. You don't have a drinking problem. This is I'm doing my thing. You do your thing. I'm good with it because whether you drink or not in front of me, my sobriety doesn't hinge on that.
Everyone is not killing themselves with it. Everyone is not drinking themselves to death with it. Everyone isn't walking around with liver disease and still doing it. It's a lot different. The general public, they don't see it like we do. And a lot of people are very sensitive to it, and I understand that. But after a while, I think we should accept that it's society, and we are real winners in this society because they're glamorizing it, and there are a lot of people who can't really do without it and won't admit it. And we're the badasses because we're not doing it. And
Yeah.
we can say no, most of us, yeah.
Yeah. I just hate feeling like such a weird outsider because I was pregnant and I didn't drink. So it's like I don't see why. I don't know. It just it would make me feel so like I know that when I go to see my mother and then my sister-in-law's parents are coming, they'll have a glass of wine or something like that, and it won't bother me whatsoever. Um, but I don't know. I just felt like I was like on a stage or something.
I don't like that the people in my house do it excessively and it causes problems. That's a whole nother ball
Oh
game.
yeah,
That's another
yeah. Nobody
conversation.
drinks in my house.
But just, people social drinking around me, I'm fine with that. And I don't think they should have to not do it and hide it from me.
Yeah, that's the hiding. Okay, thank you guys. I just question.
Love questions. I think I saw Hannah.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to comment on that. Am I unmuted? Okay. Yeah, I would feel like the spotlight was on me, but like if no one else drank, and it doesn't bug me if they want to drink. It doesn't make me feel triggered. So my sister just said, I mean, you almost died, and now I feel like it's horrible. Like I'm hanging it in front of your face, and I don't want to do. I think it really scared probably all of us, scared our loved ones and friends and stuff are so scared they don't want to be that trigger that's going to be you. But otherwise, I kind of feel like, oh man, we can't drink in front of her. So I don't want them to feel like that. And now everybody doesn't have a problem, but they also don't overdo it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
And some of it's like time passing, right? If it's the first holiday, people are probably going to be more on their toes than the next one, and so on and so forth. And also having those conversations with the people you feel comfortable with, and telling them that it doesn't make you uncomfortable, and if it does, you'll just leave or you'll do something else because you're not going to be around it, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And then Andrea, have your hand up, and then we'll keep going.
Yeah, I have a little bit of every type of situation with me. Like, for example, my 6-month sobriety party my mom threw for me. My mom was doing shots. I'm like, it's my sober party, but you're gonna pull out a bottle of liquor. Are you kidding me? So communication is definitely key. And I've always been one, like, if you don't know, ask. If I won't get mad if you ask. I feel the same way as I I forget which one of the girls said it, that, like, I'd rather you not tiptoe around me and, be direct with me. But I also have people that are like, "Hey, do you mind if I drink? Is it okay if I have a drink?" Then I have people that'll show up. I've had to ban people from my house because they show up with open containers of beer, and it's like, this is not okay. This is a boundary issue, and then there's other people that are phenomenal with it, and they're like, "I'll have one," or, if you don't if you're getting edgy, let me know, or anything like that. And but at the end of the day, everybody is gonna feel their own type of way. So the way I am is I just kind of leave it open. Like, that I'm sober. If you invite me someplace, moderation, my limits. I don't like drunk people around me. If you're gonna drink and be sociable like around Christmas, fine, well and dandy. I know not all people can be around that. And but it's just big communication, and I don't think a lot of people realize how open we tend to be on how we feel about our situations, and they're too timid to even ask us.
Mhm.
Thank you. I love it. You guys are amazing. I love the engagement. And so when we're thinking about these triggers, right? Sometimes other people will think something's going to trigger us, and we're like, no, that's not actually the trigger. This is what might throw me off more, is the fact that you're tiptoeing around the conversation and making me feel like I'm this other, or that I'm this different, kind of person than being your daughter-in-law, who I've always been, right? And so it can be different. It can be people, right? Sometimes people are triggering. Sometimes it's a situation. Sometimes it's sensory or memories, events, right? Anniversaries of things that can come up. And it can come from a lot of these different things. And the answer to what we do in those moments is going to differ, but depending on what it is, right? If it's, going to Thanksgiving at my brother's place, and my sister-in-law's family is the ones who I struggle with because they are actively drinking and they do not know moderation, and that's a difficult thing for me, right? I'm going to go in with a plan, and I'm going to know, okay, well, how much am I willing to engage with them, and when's my moment to say, you know what? I'm just going to go downstairs and hang with the kiddos, because that's what I'm really here to hang out with anyway. Like, I spent the first few decades with you, my brother. Like, I'm good with you. I'm going to go hang out with your kids. They're great, right? And so, but that may be different than, it's the anniversary of someone's passing, right? Or something like that. And those moments, it may not be something tangible that I feel like I can really, remove myself from the situation, or I can leave the event, right? If it's not that person or that situation, right? If it's these emotions, right? Or mental health, grief, loss, what do we do in those moments? That's where we need to connect. We need to recognize that it's happening, right? First step is always recognizing what the trigger is, if we are aware of it, and kind of calling attention to it, right? Whether we do it out loud verbally to our sponsor or our support person or our dog, right? My dog knows all my things, or journaling it or something like that, right? Just calling attention to it allows us then to figure out, okay, what am I going to do about this, right? Reminding myself that I have the strengths, right? Whether I've been sober for 24 hours or 30 years, something got me to this point, right? And that something is what's going to allow me to continue on. And there can be other triggers, right? It may not be one event, right? Money, holidays, it's expensive to travel, gifts for people, right? The pressure of our families to engage in certain activities, or the pressure from ourselves that we have to engage, right? We've always done this family outing to go get the Christmas tree, and it literally always ends in people fighting or hurt feelings, and it's rainy and muggy, and I just don't want to do that anymore. I've lived another day. I'm good. Like, I'm gonna hang out and drink my hot cocoa, and I will help decorate, and I will untangle the lights, right? It's okay to say no to the family, or to say no to things that we've been doing for years, even if they're tradition or family expects it of us. We don't have to do those things, right? We can create new traditions as well. And that's something that I encourage everyone to think about every year, right? We often think about it when we're, maybe we're starting a family, or we have a move, or, these events happening, but you can start a new tradition or a new habit anytime you want. There doesn't have to be a reason behind it. If you need a reason, Kat just gave you a reason and gave you permission to say no to your family, or say no to whatever it is that you feel this pressure and anxiety of doing. But sometimes, in order to figure those out, we have to be aware of our cues. So tuning in, and I know, Jen, I'm going to be running short on time, so I promise I'm going to hopefully not speed too quick, but just being aware of our physical self as well, right? I am struggling to sit still. I'm more fidgety. I'm having more racing thoughts, or I'm worried about different things, right? Those may tell me, okay, I'm feeling elevated. Something may be going on. And sometimes it's the opposite. I'm feeling just really disconnected from the holiday spirit. I'm feeling really disconnected from what's going on around me, or maybe feeling a little numb. And those are also things that can cue me in to potentially being triggered, or maybe I'm struggling right now. And both are important to recognize, but knowing what our physical cues are and symptoms, right? It's something, if you've ever been in like an anger management course or something, they talk about, all right, my fists are tightening, my blood pressure, I get really flushed in the face or something, right? Just being aware of our physical self can help clue us in if we need to have that escape plan or something like that. In just the next couple of minutes, I want to actually go over the like tips and ideas and things to think about and maybe try out. But when we're thinking about, okay, I recognize that, going to the in-laws, or it's not so much Christmas Day as it is Christmas Eve, when everyone's, kids go to bed and everyone's doing whatever it is, or mom and dad are fighting, or whatever, whatever's going on. But sticking to a routine, knowing, whatever we did today to stay sober, let's do it again tomorrow, even if it's Christmas, right? If what I need to stay sane and sober is I need my 20 minutes of being alone on my phone, not that I endorse, social media or anything like that. I have my own limits I need to put on my TikTok scrolling or things like that. But if I need to take my 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I need to go do my workout, or I need to go to my group, or I need to do my meditation, or make that time to call my sponsor, then I'm going to keep that. Just because there's family around or friends around, or I have this event to go to, building those events in to our schedule can help get through, especially if we know it's a tough season, right? And remembering our coping skills, remembering what we have done so far to stay strong and stay sober, and knowing that we can reach out. We talked about it's okay to say no, and it's okay to skip a year, right? Just because you say no this year doesn't mean you have to say no next year. And just because you said yes last year, and you can say no this year, right? Well, you were sober last year and you still came to this thing with us. Yeah, well, I don't want to do that this year, right? Other things, just when you're thinking about going to an event or going to a party, just planning through, if someone asks you a question, right? It's up to you what you choose to share. Always, have that go-to saying of, if someone's asking about, well, how are you doing? And they're kind of tiptoeing around it. And maybe there's someone you don't really feel the need to share what's going on with. That's okay. you know what, I'm doing all right. I'm sticking in there. You know, what have you been up to lately? What are, you know, have you done your typical holiday festivity, you know, whatever it may be, and ask them a question right back. People love talking about themselves. It's okay to redirect. Bring in your own drinks, right? You know, if you're not sure what's going to be there, or even you think they might provide something for you, you know, sometimes even the seltzer waters, you know, my, you know, sister may think it's great to have seltzer waters for my, you know, spouse because they're in sobriety, but they get the peach Bellini ones or something like that. And it's like, nope, that was the drink of choice. Definitely not going to be having that. So now I'm stuck with water all evening. We just keep a 12-pack of either Dr. Pepper or whatever the drink of the week is, right? She's a big DDP fan, Diet Dr. Pepper. But keep it in the vehicle so that way it's there and we don't have to worry about it. One more thing, don't have to stress about, okay, well, what are they going to have to drink for me there, right? I have my own, right? Similar for food options as well.
Hey, Kat, I'm going to stop you just for a second because got everybody, we will have another half hour with Kat. And so we can ask her some more questions and she can add on to that. But I want to make sure to be aware of the time and our closing time, because we do have some other information to share real quick before we close up here. But once again, we're staying on for reflection. So she will be here to answer the questions. But I'm glad that we have her with us because I'm going to share my screen again. She talked a little bit about having people to talk to, and I know we only are monthly right now, and we're going to be looking to change that here in the near future and in the start of the new year. But for right now, this is what we have going on, and so I just wanted to share an idea that we had, which is to be a sober liver's holiday buddy. And the idea behind this is basically to, if you're interested in this, I'm going to put out in Facebook and also send out an email, a link to a Google form. And if you are interested in helping to be a buddy and you don't mind someone calling you and you don't mind sharing your phone number will only be shared with people that decide to do this. So your phone number won't be shared with the whole email distribution list, only the people that respond to this. Or if you are somebody who would like to be able to reach out to somebody, you could actually say, no, I don't know if I'm somebody who should necessarily be called. I'm not really ready to help in that support function yet, but I may need some help. You can select that too. So there'll be options. And then what we will do is we will put out a phone list and we will send this, like I said, only to people who sign up to be part of this holiday buddy system. But we just don't want anyone to feel like they are alone this holiday season because, you know, since we only have these monthly meetings, I don't want you to feel like you are left out there in the cold, depending on where you live. But here in Colorado, it will be the cold. And so I really hope that this is something that will also allow to build a community here, to really build friendships, and that this will go beyond this holiday buddy system. And we will continue to grow this as people feel comfortable in sharing their information. That way we can have people connect that live close to each other and maybe meet up for coffee or things like that. So I really hope that everybody will be interested in participating, but if you're not, that's okay too, because we all know where we're at, and just be where you're at and feel okay where you're at. Did you want to add anything to that, Kat?
The concept of being connected is really where it gets to, you know, whether that connection is someone in your family, a close friend, someone here. Sometimes even if you're, you know, you have a really strong support system, having that support person or someone to talk to who has been there, who is in it, who has gone through it, can be helpful in a different way. Right? People will tell their life story to a stranger on a bus, but not their significant other, right? And that's who they ask for help. And that's really what I think the beauty of this group is although everyone may be in different time zones, perhaps having that connection and knowing that there is literally someone you can talk to who has been in your shoes is wonderful.
Great. Well, thank you. And I want to share one or actually two other things with you. Oops, let me see. I don't know how many times it's going to do that. Let me see if I can get past this slide. Here we go. Come on, Silver. Okay, here we go. I was really excited about my little sober livers buddy thing. This Friday, though, it is the start of the liver meeting, the American Association for the Study of Liver Diseases largest convention that they have, or conference that they have. But we do have you do not have to be part of the conference to be part of this conversation. We're so excited about it. It's called Alcohol is Not a Four-Letter Word. And this is really redefining how we discuss with medical providers about alcohol discussion. So I know I will speak for myself. I've had very uncomfortable conversations with my PCP and even my hepatologist when it comes to talking about alcohol. And a little funny fact, I don't know if any of you know this, but the #1 profession for substance use disorder is medical providers. So you may be surprised that they may actually really know and really empathize with what you're talking about. So we are having this conversation. It is free. There's a QR code there. It's going to be at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So I know we normally put everything in East Coast time. Because the liver meeting is in San Diego, that's why it's in Pacific time. But so it's 1 p.m. Pacific time, and we really hope that you can join us. We have a Dr. Patel who is joining us, who's a hepatologist I heard somebody's here from Piedmont. She's from Piedmont that will be joining us. And then I think Kat's going to be there too. And we have Kristen Smith, who is another one of our addiction counselors. She's going to be joining as well. So we hope to have a really fun conversation. And if you would like to come to the liver meeting or do it virtually, it's only $50. And you can come and see me speak. I'm going to be speaking at a cirrhosis session and also moderating a Met-ALD session. But there's other sessions besides things that I am in that are very interesting and very fun to participate in. And they have patient sessions, and they also have medical provider sessions where we can infiltrate and we can go in and listen and talk and ask questions. And I love to geek out and attend this. This will be my 4th liver meeting, 2nd one in person, but I did it virtually twice. And it was just really got my feet wet into what AASLD does. And finally, thank you very much, everybody. We're going to be moving into our reflections time, and I'm going to go ahead and stop I can't do it from here. Jack, can you stop the recording, please? And we will stop the recording here, and we will move into reflection.